All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. We are here in game number 3 between MacSed and Select for the $500 prize pool. We're just about to get this kicked off. I do want to mention the NSQ, the next season qualifier that's coming up. It's going to start February 9th. Be sure to check that out. You can go to nasl.tv. That's where you can find out. Now, a lot of different changes will be going on in the NASL for next season. Some of which are going to be more flexible times for all the players, so it's going to be a lot easier on them. Additionally, we have money every single match, so every single match will be worth it. You have to go to it. It's going to be like a show match. It's going to be really important for each individual player. Last but not least, we have the final expenses will be paid. Everything will be paid for the people that qualify for the final. So really, really awesome. Looking forward to that. Let's go ahead and then jump into this game, though, for the Sunday show match series.
Yeah, we've got Select versus MacSed. Select is up with a 2-0 score now. And we're looking at game 3 on Belshire Beach. By the way, I am Grubby, @followgrubby on Twitter. And I'm joined by, or I should say, I am joining Gretorp. Andre, how are you doing, man?
I'm joined by Grub. No.
You're doing Grubby.
I'm joining Grubby.
I'm very glad. I'm very glad to hear that. Yeah, let's dispense with this silliness and go to the game. We see Select walling off with just a supply depot and a barracks. By the way, I do like the winter version of Belshire Beach more than the summer version. There's just a low bottom cliff below that barracks rather than the rather silly, I don't know, watchtower-ish outpost hill kind of thing. For those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, just forget about it. More importantly, Select went for no refinery, so no gas, which is giving credence to most likely going with a fast command center. So that's no gas expansion for the Terran. MacSed has made a cybernetic score and is probably going to do what is by now the standard opening for him, a Zealot into Stalker. And the reason that I'm calling that standard is because there's all sorts of other ways also to open, particularly if you have a read on your Terran opponent. If you do know that they're going for this kind of expansion, it means they cannot be aggressive very early. You could be skipping Zealot and Stalker entirely to go for straight away a Nexus off of 20 supply, get your cybernetic score going, and then make your first unit. It's all within the realms of possibility, but MacSed has so far proven himself to be very by the book with his build order, and very standard. I'm curious to see how many barracks Select will make. You can make anywhere from 1 extra barracks to 2 extra to 3 extra for a total of 2, 3, and 4 barracks respectively. These are the normal follow-ups, so curious to see what we will see.
Well, you know what? I have seen things crazy like 5 barracks pressure as well, and that's when you delay your gas until like 50 supply, which is absolutely crazy.
That is crazy.
Stage. But it looks like this is the more standard way to go with the double racks that are going down. Normally we do see 3 barracks. Now the important things you have to defend against are going to be things like 4 gate in this early game stage. I'm sure Select is kind of worried about that. That's why the bunker goes up. Once you have the bunker down, you can just mass repair it. It'll defeat 4 gate pretty easily. Then you have things like the continuation. So there's a lot of different things. There could be some sort of high-tech thing. I'm sure Select isn't thinking that is a high-tech, but judging by the first game, I'm sure that kind of rattles him. That first game, he did see a fast expansion, but Dark Templars at the same time, so he knows that MacSed will, kind of be a bit risky with his builds and try to really, really like take his advantage when he can.
Yeah, that's definitely true. Now we also see MacSed going with just 2 gates thus far, now adding a robo and also on 2 gas and chrono boosting his probes. So that is again possible to be viewed again as a kind of lower, well, more risky. I mean, sorry about that. More risky kind of opening. But then again, he scouted that command center, so he's pretty well aware of what Select is doing and what the relative timings are of aggression for such things. We see the Stalker now being approached by a number of 7 Marines. It's the same amount of Marines that Select moved out with last time. And is he going to throw them away like last time? I'm not sure. Last time he got his money's worth. He killed 2 Stalkers, way more than Marines without stim should ever be able to kill. But this time Select is just clearing out the Zalnaga towers. He's gonna make his factory, and he's also going for first attack upgrade, and about doing everything in the most solid way possible. Very safe and steady and methodical play there by Select, getting his stim back. No turret yet. No turret yet.
No turret.
I would expect him to make a turret after that game one, like you said. Obviously, it did not rattle him. I'm a little surprised by that.
Yeah, me too. Maybe it was the read that he saw 2 sentries in that early game stage when he went to scout in with the SCV, and he's just okay, well, there's a lot of your gas. I also saw your expansion, so probably not like last game, because not last game, but the game on Metropolis, where you only saw Stalkers, and Stalkers are 50 gas, where sentries are 100.
No, actually, you're completely right. Yeah, that's true. I like and I dislike what Select is doing now. He's using some army to clear out any possible proxy pylons. Good, thumbs up from the Protoss doctor. He's using a pretty big army to do that. I don't like it.
Yeah.
If Protoss was going for a dedicated 6 gate and he would catch him right there, that's free army lost, and that's 100% sure loss of the game. I've seen it happen. I've seen a Protoss with a pretty good lead. A Terran with a pretty good lead, then decides to go check for a pylon. It is something of, I want to say, almost an inexperienced thing to do. You could just get it crushed and then, lose the game, basically.
Yeah.
Did not happen. Doesn't remove the fact that it was a wrong thing to do. In the meantime, MacSed is playing better than I have seen in either game 1 or 2 so far, because the amount of gateways that he made this time actually makes sense. He went for 3 gateway into Double Forge, getting those early upgrades, and then follows up with 3 more gates to go to 6 gate and a Twilight. That is the most steady, methodical play I've seen from him so far, so I'm liking it.
Yeah, and he's overdeveloping his units quite a bit. That means as soon as the 1-1 hits, rather not the 1-1, more so the 2-2, because Terrans normally get very fast upgrades this day and age. The current metagame just lends itself towards that. When the 2-2 hits, he should have big timing. All the chrono boosts should be directed over to his upgrades, and then he just pushes out with a lot of units, all upgrades, Blink Stalker, charge, and he'll be able to just hopefully just overwhelm his opponent. We'll see. Select is gearing up for some aggression. But
and look at what MacSed has done. He has made 3 observers, and they are spread out. One on the left, one on the top, and one in the middle, just like you wished for in those previous games. It's beautiful. He sees everything, and because he has not made a 3rd base, he should have no problem at all holding this off. But he's gonna get caught off guard. Ooh. A little bit late on the force fields there.
Yep,
and no Guardian Shield. There we go, Guardian Shield came up. Mostly stuff got picked up, and Select got, I want to say, a little bit the better out of that engagement, but it wasn't destructively so. Units lost fairly equal, both used some energy, and it was fine. Major disaster averted for both players.
Yeah, I do want to say that was a lot of force shields that were actually used in that engagement. I don't know if it was the best use, but of course we'll see. I mean, it doesn't really represent too much because he still has a lot of sentry energy, but still you want to conserve that as much as possible in case more encounters do happen. You can see a little bit of multi-pronged attack coming out here on the low ground, in the bottom middle, and also in the top middle. There looks like there wants to be a drop, but as we were talking about before, that one observer, I do believe, no, he's not able to see it.
Yeah, he's seeing everything in between it, basically. Everything where Select's army is not currently right now. So that does give him pretty good guess about where Select is. Select had gone for 5 barracks double eBay on 2 base and then planted down his 3rd base. So that lends itself very well for aggressive kind of play. If MacSed, however, can hold off effectively until his 2-2 kicks in, we have that timing that you spoke of. But hold the press. Major doom drop coming in here. That many Stalkers is not enough to hold that off, nor to take the Medivacs out prematurely. Zealous coming in now without charge. Lost a couple of buildings there, taking down a lot of Protoss units. Again, very late Guardian Shield there by Protoss. In fact, we see no Guardian Shield at all, which is making this attack way more effective than it should be. Beautiful kiting from the Terran there, and actually gets away. No final blink to take down. Oh, there goes down one full Medivac. Painful.
That was the only one where, well, there's another one in there, but that one was like the clutch one to not lose, and he did lose that one. Very unfortunate. 2-2 is just about to kick in. This is where MacSed should actually surge forward. He does have the supply lead. He should go and take his advantage, knowing his opponent is a little bit shattered right now. Seeing that, of course, he doesn't have a lot of units. He lost a lot in that last engagement. My upgrades are nice and strong. He's actually going to wait it out, though. 3-3 is being initiated. He's just going to go from there. Do we have Chrono Boost on those forges? No, we don't. I'm sure.
Yeah, I don't like him going for 3-3 now. I think the correct decision now to make would be to make a third. He has to, because he went to 61 probes after all. There's no reason to get that many off of 2 base. So the third is correct, but he should be attacking. He has his first 2 Colossi now, and he has to make them useful before he gets to another 200 versus 200 situation. Vikings are being made. He has to deny the mining on the third base of Select. It's an orbital, so it's very prone to attacks. It's not a planetary fortress. When your opponent has orbitals, they get more long game advantage, and you should be doing more harassment. But what we're seeing out of MacSed is a pretty passive play. He sees the factory. He doesn't clear out the Zolnaga towers yet. Now going for 1 Zealot, clearing out a tower, but the other one is still in Select's control, and that makes Select feel so safe.
Yep, exactly, and that's a big problem because you don't want the Terran to have just that much map control. It allows them to have the initiative. It makes your pushes so much harder. And those times, I mean, when you invest 500 minerals and 500 gas, or I'm sorry, it was decreased, 400 minerals and 400 gas into something like the upgrades, it basically says I'm going to be inactive for at least, well, not necessarily 220 seconds, but it could be somewhere around there. Just because of Chrono Boost. So here we have a little bit of engagement over here. The Zealots are actually completely surrounding these army, but the Stalkers are so far away. This is not a great engagement for MacSed. And look at that, nice micro coming in. He actually pushed forward, and this is going to do it. MacSed is going to lose all of his Stalkers to this Marine and Marauder army.
Yeah, those Vikings found a nice abuse of the terrain there, flying over, taking down all the Colossi, and all his Zealots went out without backup. They were like, where's the air support? And, you know, there is none. Okay, but then at least give me the Colossus. Wasn't given to them. They were fighting all by themselves. Select beautifully maneuvered out there like a ninja, using weapons from his terrain, and just decimated an army that, in a direct confrontation, in a direct attack move fight, MacSed would have won that fight convincingly, but because of the way Select used it, he was just extremely effective. He got the most out of his units, and now just the dregs are being thrown at Select, who is cleaning everything up nicely. No real challenge here. A couple of Archons do pretty good, but not without backup. And Select is taking out the third and making a fourth and a fifth.
Yeah, you know what? Select did hit right when he hit 2-2, and that's going to be it. GG. And that's going to do it. You know, what I was going into before was the fact that a lot of times TVP, a lot of the timings on when you can attack and when you can start to engage the main army is based around your upgrades. When you hit the 2-2, when you hit the 1-1, when you hit the 3-3. MacSed, we were talking about, didn't actually hit when he got his 2-2. And that was a very critical point where he has a big advantage, especially with the Guardian Shield. You have a base damage or base armor of 1 plus the 2 Guardian Shield. That's 3 armor plus your initial. So that's up to 5 armor. Or excuse me, plus the 2 upgrade. That's 5 armor. That is ridiculous. If you're up against 1-1 Marines, they deal 2 damage against all of your your health. That is nothing. I mean, you need so many shots to kill a Zealot, to kill a Stalker. So that's why you have to hit those timings. They're little 30-second, 45-second window timings, but that's the most critical point where you have to reestablish map control. You have to reestablish your economy and get back into the game, because normally Terrans do have that little advantage during those times.
Yeah, you're totally right. There's nearly nothing more essential than the battle of upgrades in PvT, and I really get the sense that MacSed, he understands the game and he has watched a lot of replays and he's following the trends, but he is doing everything sequentially, but without really understanding why he's doing it. And
Yeah.
I hope I'm not doing him an injustice here, but he's getting the upgrades, and I really liked his opening. It was all very steady, but he didn't use the timings of his upgrades. He got them, and he fought at moments where they were like 20% in. And whereas instead of getting his 3-3, it would have been way more useful for him to have been starting to prepare a Storm tech. Get some Colossus, make your opponent go a lot of Vikings, and then surprise them. Look, I only have 2 Colossi and actually have 6 High Templar with Storm, and you've got no Ghosts. Exactly. These are the type of plays that happen at the very highest level, I think, of PvT plays. Or get both units, Colossi and Storm. It creates something of a conundrum, a dilemma for the Terran. Like, do I ball up my Vikings and instant shot your Colossus, but I can get Storm. So once you have both Storm and Colossi, you can say, okay, now it's time to invest in the general strength of my army. Now I'll get my 3-3 upgrades. The 2-2, I got them that fast because I wanted to be strong at that point. But now I need diversification of my army type and variety.
And I want to go back to what you were saying. I have 0 problems with the build that MacSed did. It was probably the most beautiful build that he did in the entire series so far. However, it's just not taking map control. I think if he took map control, it was the same positions, 2-2 against 2-2, but instead his army is in the middle of the map, and then all of a sudden Select is the one that has to play a little bit defensive. He can't have the perfect positions. Then we're looking at a very different game. He waits for 3-3, and then boom, he pushes. His expansions are safe because all the army is caught back in Select space rather than being up front in MacSed space. So just a little bit of differences. I think MacSed does have obviously the capabilities of taking out Select, but overall Select in the movement and just his ability to have a plan, not the ability to have a plan, him having a plan whenever he's going into this has really given him the advantage in all of these games.
Yeah, I think it all comes down to the plan. And just the last note, we had 3 observers out. He could do exactly like you said, keep his army in the middle. Mm-hmm. If there's Medivacs trying to fly by, go ahead and blink and take him down. Use those observers actively, but we've seen him make 3 observers, but he mostly didn't move them through the whole game, and he used them defensively. Was able to mostly not take damage from attacks, not quite, because there's always a hole even in the best defense, but he could have used them very aggressively and proactively.
Exactly. But that being said, Select up 3-0 in this show match, so he's at game point right now. Whereas MacSed needs to win 4 in a row if he wants to come back into this. But we're going to be going on to game number 4 in a little bit. Everybody stay tuned. We'll be back with MacSed versus Select.